We talked about composition of functions. Someone tell me real fast what that is. When you put one equation into another one, okay? So when you're decomposing, it's like you're taking them apart. So you have two functions. You have f of x and g of x. And so basically, I'm taking my g function and I'm plugging it into my f function to get h. And clearly you can see one of my parent functions in that very first problem, right? Which one do you see? So does it look like I'm putting something into the square root function, or I'm taking the square root function and plugging it into something else? So that means that that would have to be your f function. What am I putting into that square root? Right? So if I'm plugging in x cubed minus 4 into my square root function, what needs to be underneath the square root? And x. And that is it. That is how you decompose a function. Look at B. Which parent function is involved in this problem? It's a quadratic, and you know that because of the square. But no quadratic that we've dealt with since we've been talking about parent functions and transformations has all of this. So before we can actually get to figuring out what the two functions are, we're going to have to do something extra. We're going to have to factor this. What's the first thing you look for when you factor? Is there one? So I can factor out a 2. Because every term in this function has a 2. Can I factor the inside? To be what? What two numbers multiply to give me 25, add to give me 10?
5.
So it's going to be x plus 5 times x plus 5, which is the same thing as what?
X plus 5 squared.
And there it is. Can you see the two functions? Can you see one function being plugged in to another function? Say it again, Marshall. 2x squared and x plus 5. Which one is the input function? So I'm putting 2x squared into x plus 5. So that means that x plus 5 would have to be my g function because it's being plugged in to 2x squared. Does everybody see that there? If you ever get confused which one goes with which, then test it out. Once you write it down, actually do the composition real fast. Okay? If I take x plus 5 and I'm plugging in for x, am I going to get h? I want you guys to try C. C is very similar to B. Okay? So you're going to have to factor it and then figure out your two functions. So what does factor to be? X minus 1 squared. Do you see what your two functions are? What was the parent function here? X squared. Okay? Whatever the parent function is that you can identify, that usually is your f function. That's usually the function that something is going into. Okay? What am I putting into my parent function, my quadratic? X minus 1. So that's your g function. And then your f function will be what? Raise your hand if you got that right. Good stuff. Okay? So just break it apart. Can you see the parent function in D? So that has to be the function that something's going into. But I'm missing a little piece here. So I'm just not inputting something into the absolute value. There's something extra with the absolute value. You guys see that? What am I plugging into this function? And that's your input function. What am I missing in between these two bars? Just like that. I want you guys to do E. Give you 30 seconds to figure out E. Okay? Raise your hand if you think you have it. All right, keep your hand raised if you want to volunteer the answer. Bradley.
F of x, square root of x minus 7. The g of x equals 4.
Very good, because if I put the g into f, that's going to give me my h function. Very good. Look at the next one. What's the parent function for f? It's the reciprocal function. What am I plugging into my reciprocal function? X plus 7. And what is the?
1 over x.
Questions on decomposing? Look at your homework. You had 2 of them on that homework sheet. I want you guys to take a minute, maybe a minute and a half, and decompose 9 and 10 from your homework. Raise your hand if you think you got 9. Okay? Stephen, what you get?
Fx equals square root of x minus 1.
And so that means G would have had to be what?
So x minus 6.
You guys agree?
Yes.
If I do f of g of x, hopefully that notation didn't throw you off. This right here means the same thing as this. Okay? They mean the same thing. What about 10? Raise your hand, you think you got 10? Adriana, what you get?
I got f of x equals 1 over x. And then g of x equals 3x plus 3.
Would you guys agree that if I did f of g of x, I would get that? Okay. Questions? Now, there's not one set answer for these, okay? Take number 10, for example. Wouldn't this and this work? If I made g my 3x and then the other one 1 over x plus 3?
Yeah.
Okay, so don't think that it's a one-set way that you can do the composite, okay? There could be other ways. All right. So,